did you set up like you just set up a separate bank account and ran the LLC and did it through this other bank account, and then, but do you then transfer your personal, cash into it, and that converts, because it still passes through to you. I'm just talking about the LLC thing we were talking about before. You transfer your own cash in there?
I do.
Yes.
You're up to like $50,000 a year.
What is the LLC doing for you in that case?
It protects assets. They can't take away anything from my house, my wife's car, and all that.
Can't come in and grab my home or.
Yeah, it's a business dissolving thing if things go bad. So whatever things that you claim, yes, that protects you.
Okay.
And the money that you've been working so hard for.
Right. Okay. So it basically shields off your other investments that aren't part of this crypto thing.
Home business, two separate entities.
All right. So I was talking to somebody who made a bunch of little trading, and he was saying that the main thing that he uses is Elliott wave theory, which is basically like.
Wait, he's not recording yet. Hold on a second.
No, I got it.
I heard him.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm putting this.
So like the Elliott wave theory, basically what it's saying, like you'll notice this pattern in pretty much any chart, whether it's stocks or forex or whatever. So like the Elliott wave theory, basically what it's saying, like you'll notice this pattern in pretty much any chart, whether it's stocks or forex or whatever. So basically, like when it hits one, like the one is the odd numbers are the bullish trends, and then the even numbers are the bearish trends. So like whatever it hits one and it goes down to the bears win out, and it gets down to 2, he tries to buy somewhere like around this area. Consolidating where if you can draw basically like a channel, that's consolidation. So like when you see consolidation after it hits this 5 point, then you would sell, because that's whenever it's going to start going back down. And he was saying like that's basically.
Now, how does this interact with volume? Like, would you be looking for a trend in volume that indicates that you're consolidating? Like, is there a leading indicator of volume that would?
Volume being lowered is consolidating usually. So like this, like volume, looking at volume at each one of these points, too, is a signal of how strong the up or down trend is going to be. So like if this point, whenever it gets to this point, if the volume is continuously rising as it gets to this point, then that means this trend, this uptrend is gonna continue for however long until it starts consolidating and you can start putting it into a channel. So like the channel would be like if it's, and then you could draw like a channel like that. So that means it's either gonna break out upwards or it's gonna break out downwards, because it can't just, it's never gonna stay within a channel. It's always gonna trend downwards or upwards. So he was saying that was the basic strategy that he used for his entire thing, and he applied a couple of like the chart, like the candlestick recognition patterns to it too. But he was saying, because in Forex everybody uses Fibonacci and it becomes self-fulfilling, but for crypto he was saying just the Elliott wave theory pattern, and then applying some candlestick recognition patterns to it too. Like he was saying that worked out beautifully for him. And then like he would also do like news events and volume and stuff like that as the indicators underneath it. But
I would say that, like, at least in crypto right now, over the next, let's say 3 months, because the half-life of information is so short. Like, if the news is quiet, then let's say you're starting to consolidate here, and volume is going down.
Right.
And the news is quiet, then you're likely to break out downward, right? Definitely. Like it's like those things tend to be more correlated, at least in my observation. And then when the volume is increasing, when the volume's increasing, and looking at the candlesticks, and you're hearing buzz, it's like
right.
I'm almost seeing that looking backward.
If the volume's increasing, it's a signal of continuing in whatever trend is currently
that the candlestick is showing.
If it's currently in an uptrend and the volume is increasing, then it's going to usually stay within that uptrend. If it's in an uptrend and the volume's starting to decrease, then you're going to see some consolidation and it's going to break out downwards. Typically, that's what you'll see.
Write down AARON. AARRON.
It's a pattern, trading pattern that you can learn. It's a box down here off of your scale that shows a bull run, and then it also shows a bear run. And then when the bears start to take over, the bulls start to lose, and then there's a crossover period.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So this thing bounces all the time with the bears and the bulls. And if you can finite utilizing that tool,
Right.
there is a point where you can identify where a good buy or sell point is too. I think it's AAR.
So you mentioned another good one earlier that I've used in Forex, which is the MACD, the moving
MACD.
average convergence divergence. So that one combines a few different indicators, like it'll take the volume and it'll take a smoothed out moving average, like
Right.
it'll take, I don't know how they calculate the moving average, like each
Are you talking about 5, 10, 100 days?
the closing price of like 7 candlesticks, so it'll smooth out.
It's a
like-
trailing. yeah,
Right, it
yeah,
trails it,
yeah.
it trails the trend. So then they take that plus the volume and then they calculate another line, and usually when the two lines cross over, that signals either a trend reversal or like a breakout trend if it's consolidating.
If you do 1 hour, it just goes crazy. What you can't do is you gotta back it out. You just keep backing it out until you feel comfortable. Is it a day trend chart? Are they starting to come back together? Of course, they could
That's the whole.
like miss each other flights, or the day chart starts to get close across. So,
Yeah, so you think something's gonna
Just
happen.
spread it out,
so
look
you
at it.
apply
yeah, you just kind of bring it in a little bit.
That's going
And,
on around
Yeah.
the
I use that one a lot,
You apply,
you know, just to learn, not to day trade, because holdings might gain
strong
too.
that trend is, and then once
That's a
those
very
start to
good
cross
tool.
over,
MACD too. And you can
do
learn
it
that on
after
YouTube
they
real
cross,
quick.
'cause it's not like when they cross, it's just.
So-
gonna shoot.
Are you guys dollar cost averaging your way in and out of stuff, or?
No, you're supposed to do that.
Yeah,
No.
Not at
Oh.
this point in time.
I only do profit. So I look at when I bought something, what my profit is. As long as I'm ahead, I'll shift it around or I'll move my profit into something. But for the most part, I'm only doing the swing trading,
Yeah.
following it on that, move my profit out, let it drop, buying back in with the same stuff and doing a
Yeah.
feedback loop.
Yep, I'm doing a similar thing. The only thing that's as close to dollar cost averaging is like what I was saying I was doing with IOTA, where like I wanted to move out my principal, so that was it. Like, and then I was like, I'm gonna leave the rest in, you know, and then I'll decide what I want to do with the rest of that later. I may pull some of that back too, you know, and then ride
So
a
is
little
that what that
bit
is? 'Cause I'm
later
not
on.
familiar with dollar cost
No.
averaging. Is that
Dollar-
what that is?
Basically, you keep buying. All right, so say that Bitcoin's at 10,000, but then it drops to 9,000. You buy in again, so that way your total buy-in was actually 9,500.
Right.
If you're buying the same amount, but it continues to drop at another 1,000. Now it's down to 8. You buy in again,
Right.
and now your dollar cost average is between 8 and 10,000. So that way, when it goes back up, you're profiting from the drop from 8 to 9 as it passes that, then from 9 to 10 as it passes that,
Yeah.
and then 10 you're profiting on all of it.
And same on the way up too. Like
Yeah.
you're kind of like when I was talking about moving the profits or the principal plus some profit back into Bitcoin as my store of value. Bitcoin's still going up, so I'm kind of like, you know, dollar cost averaging it on the way up too. I'm just acquiring more. It's still going up because it's not a static price. But I'm happy to do that because my feeling is that the trend will continue upward. So I want to continue to acquire more, even though I didn't get it I'm not getting it like at the beautiful price I got it to start with. You know, like it's still worth acquiring.
The main
Like the charts you're trading on, the candlestick charts, do you, what time frame are your candles, do you trade in, like the hourly candlesticks and the daily candlesticks, or?
If I'm day trading, I'm all the way to 5 minute, 1 minute to 15 minute, but if I'm just holding, I just do day charts.
That's what I used to do with Forex, but you start to realize there's a lot of fake outs. The lower you get on the time frames for the charts that you're looking at, the higher the chance of fake out. So like, for example, if you see a double top pattern in a daily chart,
Mm-hmm.
that's much more likely to be a true like where it's supposed to go, whether it's a bullet.
Well, that's why I start backing it up, and I'm
Right.
always into different time zones just to see what
Yeah.
trend I see.
So like what I do is I break it out into like 4 charts, like I have a
Yeah,
daily
that's nice
chart,
to do.
or a weekly chart, a daily chart, 4 hours, an hour.
Yeah.
And then you can get the big picture and then smaller picture of where the charts are.
Yeah.
And then from there, like you would base each trade decision on like, you have to look at the long-term chart first and then kind of like zoom in as you go down.
Yeah, I'd use the daily and look for trends and like what you're doing with the angles and the,
Right.
lines and history. And then I look at the daily volume, what's going on. You can see it just dwindling off because your oscilloscope chart shows this great buildup, and then they break it down to lines or whatever. And then you'll start to see this drop. And when it starts to top, then I can tell that during the day chart we're starting to lose volume.
Right.
Why am I losing volume? And it's going to pass that center line until it starts to pick back up again.
Right.
So that's when you're going to see your dips 1 and 2 because of the volume change and the selling.
Yeah.
The other thing that you got to be careful about with the trends is maybe it's not as much. Maybe you're used to this because of forex, but at least for like stock people, it's that you got to make sure you're tracking against the right currency because like there's a lot of trends that I've missed because I'm not tracking it against Bitcoin. I've been looking at USD. And I'll miss like a key pattern that if I look backward and I put it against Satoshi's, I'm like, oh my god, this is so obvious.
Yeah, that's why I was asking you what pairs like you were trading because I didn't know whether it's better to go off of BTC or ETH versus the USD or the JPY or whatever, or do like BTC versus against the Ethereum.
I'm not that smart, so I can't do. I keep all.
That's
that
a good
at
question.
once. I just
Yeah.
Yeah, I think dollars, and then I trade Satoshis or whatever,
It's a matter of what your experience is. And like actually just when you were saying the dollar cost averaging, the first thing that made me think of, that's how I entered into Bitcoin. I saw it dropping and I bought more. I saw it dropping and bought more.
Yeah.
Or actually I was in at a certain point and I had more money and I was waiting for it to crest and go to a bottom. But then I talked to a friend and he's like, well, do the dollar cost averaging and going in. So I think that's more of a time sensitive. Now, as even on my shifting, as I've gone around and done that, I'm looking at the shifts in terms of BTC, but it's not always good to shift in terms of BTC. Because like if I'm going in from, I'm doing my profit taking, right? And I want to cash out.
I think I'll move my car. I did the same thing.
Right. I don't want to cash out into BTC because the fees are going to be too high. But I can cash out into Litecoin, which tends to be faster and have lower fees, and then on Coinbase transfer into a wire transfer.
Oh, wow.
And that's something I had thought about, but I hadn't put it in implementation because I haven't physically taken cash as far as profit.
Sure.
So when you're thinking in terms of USD or ETC or BTH, ETH, or something right there, you got to understand what you want to do as your end game.
Yeah.
If you want to just move into BTC, sure, you want to look at the flow going right here. You want to kind of catch a trend. But if I'm looking to just move stuff around, Bitcoin's too big. Litecoin is a much better and more useful vehicle to move it around in.
The problem is it's not doing anything right now. I mean, it was, but now it's gotten so stagnant.
That's why it's awesome. Because when I move, I'm not losing anything. Like right now, I'm gonna go buy IOTA.
Stationary.
And I had to get into Bitcoin to get into IOTA. Right? When I moved it, I have an hour to wait before all the confirmations come in before I can buy my IOTA. I just bought it in at 13.1. It's at 13.4.
What is?
Bitcoin. No, Bitcoin.
Oh, okay.
It was at no. I was like, what? Hold on. I had to go.
You're not ready to retire.
No. My Bitcoin was at 13,100. Let's say it that way. But while I'm waiting for those confirmations, Bitcoin just went to 13,400.
Yeah.
So I just made a profit. Now I have to mark that as a gain on my capital gain.
Oh.
And then, hold on 1 second. Then I have to go into IOTA, which right now they're diverging. Bitcoin's going up while IOTA is generally trending down. It's saying it was at $4 and going down to like $3.90.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm actually going to be able to buy more IOTA because it's shifting like that. Now I may not want to do that. All right. Because why get off on a ride when it's going to the top?
Right.
I know that Litecoin is stagnant, so in the time it's going to confirm, I'm not going to have a huge gain that I'm going to have to report and track.
So it's easier to stick it in Litecoin. Plus, the time to move is faster. If I could transfer and I want to get into IOTA right now, I shouldn't make that stop in Bitcoin. I should make a stop in Litecoin and then move it on to the exchange and use Litecoin to buy it on Binance or something like that.
Can you do that? I thought you could
I
only
don't-
get it through Bitcoin. But I know you're
Right, you can only do it through Bitcoin, but on another exchange, depending on what my end is,
Right.
I could use Litecoin, my Litecoin wallet to get into it. Like on Coinbase, and I want to buy Bitcoin, it'll go faster if I change from Litecoin to Bitcoin. So I enter into Coinbase in Litecoin, and then transfer within Coinbase.
How do you,
into that.
This is a really stupid question because I haven't transferred anything across currencies in Coinbase. But does Coinbase make it easy to just switch out your currencies without using Shapeshift?
Which-
Just write them.
Yeah, it does it within. Like
But
when,
it only tests you.
no, you go to account, send, receive, send from your Litecoin wallet to your Bitcoin wallet, and it's only like $3 as
I tried to do
opposed
that and it
to.
didn't work out.
I use Exodus. I'm staying away from Coinbase just
You use
because
Exodus, huh?
I use Exodus for any transition
Are they based in the
internally.
States?
Right.
What's that?
Are they based in the States, too?
So you just
No,
swap them. Because I think I'm just gonna move my.
It's a hardware sitting on your computer. So
hardware.
It's hard. It's,
Really?
Right, but-
well, software downloaded.
And you'll get
And it's
less
not
transaction fees on Litecoin.
Only
because
time
you
you're
use
cloud-based
it.
is when you send and receive.
Right.
So it's a matter of what you want to
I'm
do.
not
as a
allowing
end.
Coinbase to do cloud, right.
And the only reason I came
Well,
up with this
Exodus,
stuff, because this is all like bouncing on my head, so I'm not actually doing it. I'm like, how am I going
design,
to do this when I am ready?
Very
But that's only coming to
simple.
mind because
All
I'm
you do is
thinking
download
what
it
my end game is.
And
Yeah.
it's very simple to move things
I wanna do. Yeah.
in and out of all
I'm trying to think of
the
a way that
other.
somebody could do
The
it
problem
without
that I don't like about
I wouldn't
Litecoin
recommend
right now, not long term, but right now is it's less fungible than Bitcoin because it's so easy to go from Bitcoin pairs into the alts that I really want, Binance and Bittrex. It's like I can, and it's just zap instant. So I'm keeping a stash of Bitcoin, still my store of value, but it's not necessarily in Coinbase. I've moved a lot out of Coinbase into these exchanges for now.
But they don't have an
store
app.
it later, but.
I hope they will.
You have to have this one premise.
Okay, I'll look.
You're only putting in exchanges the money you're playing with.
Right.
When you put it, when you're holding on to your Bitcoin that you're doing as your profit taking, you put it into your other wallet.
Right.
And you only keep the money you're playing with on the exchange, which is the number one safety feature that people should have.
Yeah.
Because if that by chance that exchange were to go down or get hacked,
Yeah.
you've only lost what was in that basket.
Yeah.
And you never keep all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
I generally work with 3 wallets, so I have boom, boom, boom.
I just got my Ledger S, but I haven't set it up yet.
I get a lot of questions from business owners. I'm just wondering within this group what you guys would answer this. So, people are wanting to buy Bitcoin, and they want to wait till tomorrow. And they're like, I made an extra $100. I want to cash it out. I want to use that money right away.
Don't.
Well, no.
Right.
I can't say don't because they can do it if they want to do it.
I understand you
But
can't,
what's the
but- easiest
easiest way for somebody to do that is what they want.
Cash it out for
The
dollars.
easiest- You know, they want
Use
to.
that ATM down here at the liquor store. Buy Bitcoin and
Buy
then
Bitcoin.
cash it out with $1.
On a
credit card.
on a debit card.
I'm sure,
Yeah,
but
no.
it's gonna be faster than waiting for the bank.
Yeah, I had this question this morning.
I wouldn't do it.
A client of mine, she made $100 last night. She says, I want to go run and go ahead and pay my electricity bill. How can I get that $100? I said, well, I'll give you the $100 for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But whoever can figure out what debit card,
Right.
where do you get that?
You get a Shift debit card,
Yeah.
BitPay debit card,
Yeah.
and
Right.
you put it on there and pay your
Yeah.
bills just like you do with your Wells Fargo bank.
And
I need to do that.
2014, I was
Shift
in
and
a-
what?
Did you say?
It's called Shift. That's the one that goes with Coinbase. So you go to Shift, sign up for it, and it connects to your Coinbase.
But-
And then there's BitPay, and now 10X is coming out with one they have in the UK, but they're working on getting it here.
But they shouldn't be, the thing is, if they undermine their ability to accrue wealth by pulling out, you gotta teach them the right, at least if they're gonna do this, the right timing to do that, which is like profit taking,
Right.
don't do that and undermine your principle.
Well, my first thing is don't do that. But
Yeah.
if somebody has to pay their electricity bill and they want to know, hey guy, you helped me sign up for Coinbase, I need to pay my electricity bill.
No.
I can't be this guy that says, hold on to your money.
And just be like, don't
So hold on.
Join Bitcoin.
No. What you do is like what you just told him. Number one, when you get into cryptos, you're playing with money that you don't necessarily need. That's just sitting there. You don't use your day-to-day money.
No.
If you need this to live off of, don't put it in Bitcoin because you're only shooting yourself in the foot. You're killing the golden goose before it's laid its next egg.
They're dazzled by the percentages is what's
I
happening.
gotcha.
So,
But tell them you can't do it. Loan them the money.
done that.
They gotta treat it like a 401k. They have to, they basically,
Yeah.
401k with a little bit of profit sharing.
People aren't seeing it now. They're trending towards this ability to use it all the time and to ride this wave.
That's because the media is saying it's a currency and.
It is, but it's not. It's fluctuating too much. It's on the rise. You don't get off the roller coaster when it's going up the hill.
But it's
You
more of
wait
an
for-
asset. I think people need
No,
to view it as an
honestly,
asset.
if you view it as an asset, you will create a
that
bubble.
quick process that if it's this, the shift.
And the shift card works because you can get debit cards
I
that go
agree.
from that. But
That's
if you treat it like an asset, that's what creates a bubble.
Bring them into the group so they
tulips
learn more.
became a bubble because everybody just held
When I
on to
first
it.
started taking.
If you were circulating tulips, using tulips to buy stuff, they would not have been a bubble. They would have stabilized at a price
Right.
and gone right there. That's why,
But
to
then I
me,
had
that's why
my
Bitcoin is not a bubble because it has circulation.
And I said,
And
if
if
he
you
wants
have-
to pay you or tip you, whoever.
Economies only work through
Let him just tip you
motion.
separately on
Yeah.
your wall.
It's like that myth about a shark. If it stops moving, it dies. And that's essentially a bubble. It stopped moving, it became stagnant.
Right.
Water, it flows. If you keep water pooled up, it gets moldy, it gets mildewy,
I had no idea.
it gets nasty. You can't drink it anymore. It's not potable. And that's the same thing under Bitcoin. If you try to keep it like that, that will kill it. Gotta give it wings and let it fly. But at the same time, you gotta give it wings at the right time. Right now is not the right time.
Email address. She pulls it up.
But this is interesting though, like if you view, like let's say, it's not just Bitcoin, but crypto as an asset class.
Yeah.
There's a lot of circulation among those range of assets, and they've got a diverse, diverse enough perception of function that they seem to people like different types of assets.
No, oh my gosh, it's not even about
I
that,
got
it's about circulation. Look at
I
that.
got a point to
All
bring
right,
up.
but they're circulating. What I'm saying is
When we
they're
get a
circulating
chance
between each other.
about
Right, but
They may not be
you guys
circulating back
that's
into
a-
the
Yeah,
That's a feedback loop.
Well, on the phone side.
It's gonna end up growing to the point that it's gonna shatter itself. All right? Now, it is circulation. That's what's going on with stocks. You don't get the percentages of stocks because everybody's just kind of floating in one, holding it, floating in one, the other. You don't get the big swings. All right? So you get a lot of big swings because people are shifting around and moving currencies like that. But that doesn't increase the intrinsic value. The intrinsic value gets increased when you have circulation. Dash was hanging out at like 340, 320, right? Once they started using it as a currency for moving cannabis, all of a sudden it doubles in a month, almost tripled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
You know, but my point is, that only happened
did it really
due to
not.
the circulation
I mean, they really
of it,
focused
not
on
because they were
POS
trading it
system,
amongst other coins,
implementing it
because
into the POS system.
they were doing that
designed
anyway, and it
doing
was steady.
That was smart.
Incognito type transactions.
so a coin has to live up to its
They just
purpose,
saw a niche in that, the fact
Yeah.
that all of these dispensaries
which is
didn't
a
have
currency,
anywhere to put
not an
the
asset.
cash.
That's smart. Smart.
They were like, how do we do
And
this?
if you are going to flow with it, great. Do your big ticket items, buy them in Bitcoin. You want to
Right,
buy a house?
exactly, yeah.
Buy a house in Bitcoin.
Exactly.
Because you're not going to use Bitcoin to buy a coffee because it doesn't make sense financially.
This girl I know does real estate in San Francisco, and she just listed a house on Facebook in Bitcoin, and right in San Francisco. I'm like, you guys are kidding me? Like, it's really
And that's what
happening right now right under our nose. We're watching it unfold.
Hey, I've got a
Watch it
question.
unfold for
This whole thing, coming up on, was it Monday, or is it the stock market, the CME,
Yeah.
we're trading in the futures. What is your opinion on, or experience?
It adds complete validity to everything Bitcoin. All the futures coming on board is adding validity to all this. And I had a party the other day for my little nephew had his first birthday, so I was there, you know. There's some guys in there and start talking about crypto, of course. You can't shut up about it. And there's a few older guys in there, and there's like, you don't know about that stuff, you know. The minute I talked about the futures, you know, all of a sudden they're like,
Yeah.
and then I started talking about the Bitcoin IRAs. I'm in. All of a sudden, there's a total turnover, and not even paying attention to me. I'm in. I don't know about cryptocurrency, is what they said. I don't have any idea about buying any of that stuff, but I would want somebody else to do it for me. So I was like, that's the key to the whole ball game.
It is.
wanting somebody to take care of your.
And it just gets a whole
No,
crowd.
that's the
of-
same thing that they have with their financial planner. That guy just takes them, brings them money,
Yeah.
or does money, and they're looking for a Bitcoin financial planner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you're-
Badly.
You're gonna see more 401k movement, you're gonna see more people moving into the
Yep.
stock market,
Yep.
and now you're gonna see tax people show up
Yep.
on how to deal with your taxes.
Yeah, I just went through it with one of my friends. He had a established IRA, can't touch it for 5 years.
Right.
Contacted those people and said, I want to move into Bitcoin IRA.
Right.
I want to move some of my
I only
money
know one online right now that does it.
in Bitcoin IRA. They have a little tiny office in some small little town, and they have bazillions of dollars now. But he moved 25,000 in there. They gave him his choice of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple XRP, Litecoin he could choose from, and that was it.
Can you still move it around after he has the Bitcoin?
Yeah, you could take cash out, you can move it around.
But that's where he's talking about with the 401 self-directed IRA
Is
style.
that different than what you did? Or is that?
Well, I was way ahead of the game before this thing blew up, so I was utilizing it as a self-directed. It's probably gonna be the same animal, it's just finding people that actually
Know how to do
know
it.
how to do it.
Well, that's an interesting one too. But can you trade the Bitcoin into alts from the Bitcoin IRA?
No.
Okay.
Only, you have to be within,
But you can do that with yours.
Well,
You can do whatever you want with Bitcoin.
it doesn't say specifically Bitcoin, it just says cryptocurrency,
Oh, nice.
you know, so I don't think it's,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. You know, a stock is a stock, when you trade stock.
Either way, you got access to the cash and you were able to use it.
That's correct.
So you can pay the piper later.
That's right.
From
That's
your
right.
gain.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people know that if they do have IRAs right now, that they can do what he did. And that, I think, is something that we're gonna reach out to Bitcoin IRA people, ask them to do maybe a Skype into our meeting so people can hear from these folks and see how that works.
That would be a representative that would try to find, that could come in and talk about that smartly, about moving your own corporate 401k, roll it over, Roth or whatever, into your own self-directed.
So do you think there are going to be people shorting Bitcoin, and if so, are they going to be working with regulators and PR and try to suppress the value a little bit?
That's what I wanted to point out here. Like, my brother is huge into stock. He's like you, he's all into technical stuff and big into it for years. But he's kind of gotten into Bitcoin now, and he's kind of asking me guidance, and I'm new to this too. So now that he heard that, CME is coming into it, he's really worried that it's actually going to end up screwing up the whole situation for everybody. Because now they can control the market by betting on it and control, right?
Yeah.
So they can control pushing it up, bringing it down,
Correct.
buying the coin.
And
They've got full control over the market now.
well, they can influence the psychology of it
Yeah.
because of how much you're buying. You're talking about guys that are coming with fat wallets as opposed to people that, were playing with chump change. When you have a hedge fund that's moved $100 billion or $100 million in, you just took a tenth of the entire market cap. That's going to cause a swing, and that's what can also influence a bubble. So if it does turn into a bubble, is when you turn it and treat it like an asset and just play the buy and hold game. And these hedge funds have the potential to do that.
I think so. Here's what I think is going to happen, and we'll see. We'll see in a couple weeks. But this is what I think is going to happen. I think they're like the psychology part of it. They're looking to move into it. They're interested in Bitcoin and the gains. They have clients that are interested in Bitcoin and the gains. They're not interested in sabotaging Bitcoin. But what they do want to do is offset their late entry. So they're going to short it on the way down, destabilize it by about 30%, not totally destabilize it to where it's not an attractive asset anymore, but then they're going to ride that, so they're going to make money 30% on the way down, make money 30% on the way up. That'll offset their late entry by that 60% as if they're getting in October. Their customers will be thrilled, and then they'll just ride that. And then you'll have activity.
But see, here's the problem.
And they're confident.
Here's the problem. When they do that, everybody's going to run out because they don't understand the psychology, which is what you had happen with the mutual fund march back in early 2000s. And everybody's going to sell it, and then when it recovers by, I think it was like 2010, everything that was down was back up to where it was trading at before. Everybody that ran out took that huge loss. But that left them holding the bag. So if everybody runs out of it because they're shorting it so much, when they buy back in, they're gonna own a large percentage of.
The reason why I don't think that's gonna happen, my personal opinion, is there are billions of dollars waiting on the sidelines to deploy capital into Bitcoin and wanting to buy the dip. Not necessarily for an institution, but they're waiting on the sidelines to buy that beautiful dip.
When they buy back
So
in,
it's
they'll
gonna
control.
dip. It's gonna be a flash crash and back up
But
again.
no, it won't be a flash crash because they're gonna hold it down as they're rushing in. There's gonna be, they're overwhelming the market, which inherently drops, well,
So I have,
I think it's gonna shoot the price down, and when they buy back in, they're gonna own a larger percentage
That's
of
something I'll
the
love
market.
Yes, that's the game.
Because the drop, right,
I
now
agree.
they're gonna be an influencer because they control 10% of the market because they have billions of dollars.
But it's still a legitimizing force overall, and so I think
Understandable.
that helps it float.
But that's only gonna work if
So,
people actually
I have
flow and
something
turn it
that-
into a currency,
Right.
otherwise it's a bubble.
Right. All right, time
So
will tell.
I'm not necessarily negative on the fact that you have the big institutions getting into it with the CMEs. Like, this is a chart that somebody,
Put in the group.
shared.
It's a good chart.
So this shows like how bubbles get formed and stuff. So like you have the takeoff, you have the early adopters, which is like the super techie people that get in now. When you get the smart money that comes in, the CMEs and the big institutions, they're the ones that find a way to give it to the masses, like, because they have the clients. They're the ones that find ways to. Because currently you have huge Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin purchases because it's easy to get on Coinbase. It's easy for people to do that. But once you get into altcoins, like the average person doesn't know how to transfer the stuff over to an exchange and do all that to buy the altcoins. Like when the big institutions and the smart money gets into it, they're the ones that figure out a way to push it out to the masses through, like some kind of integrated exchange. I don't know what it's going to look like, but they're the ones that figure that out because they have the clients and they have like the money and the power to make something like that happen.
So what I'm hearing is that a lot of money's gonna come in to pump it up. They're gonna get everybody else excited, they're gonna bring their money in, and then they're gonna do the short.
I think it's the opposite. I think
Really?
they're gonna depress it. They're gonna short it, depress it, make money on the way down, and then ride it back up.
No, it's gonna be a combination of the two because they're gonna get money into it to start baiting. You put a little bit on the hook, let it fall.
They're baited, man. People are so baited right now.
I got you. But the heavy hitters want to drop the price down and buy it at a lower
Right.
volume.
I
So
think
they
they're
put
gonna
a
do that
little
too,
bit
right?
into the market. They're going to put a little bit into the market to get that going, pull it out, let it tank, and then buy it back up at the bottom. That's what they did to Facebook.
It'll be an interesting conversation after it happens. We'll see.
That was an interesting one to see that one unfold.
So you're going to see like in the upcoming next 3 to 6 months a major bubble form because these institutional investors are getting in it and they're going to find ways to push it out to the public. So you're going to see huge.
Well, as far as
rise.
Bitcoin is concerned, I'm so long on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I'm like long as it gets.
Yeah, me too.
I'm holding hard.
Dude, so we should do this like
So
once.
don't get nervous when it gets freaky.
Yeah, let's do it. I think once a week is reasonable given how fast things are moving.
Yeah.
I would be
Once
willing to do
every
that.
Wednesday or something.
That should be true.
The problem is it's 16.
Cliff, let's connect on Facebook. I'll add you there.
No problem.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, pleasure's mine.
Later, guys.
Hey,
Have a good one.